And people, some of them, they are tired about running against a clock or watch or something like this. They just want to get out of the asphalt and see the nature. Swimrun is a fantastic way to discover the environment and what the nature can offer to you.
Welcome to the Low Tide Boyz, a Swimrun Podcast. I'm Chip.
And I'm Chris, and this is episode 61 of the show. We did it. We made it past 60. We are just super stoked about this week's guest. We're headed to South America for the first time to check out the swimrun scene in Brazil with Fabio Iskandarian. He's the founder of Hero Swimrun and basically the chief swimrun evangelist in the Rio de Janeiro area. It was really great to interview him for the show, and it was really reaffirming of our theory about swimrun, Chipper, that it's just a really special sport that draws great people from all over the world to it. And I feel like, his passion is really a testament to that. So I'm super stoked that he was super stoked.
He was very stoked.
Yeah, which
He's
just got me more
stoked.
stoked. Yeah, which got
Everyone's
me more
stoked.
Anyway, we'll have more of that later in the show, but first, Obrigado a todos de Brasil por ouvirem este podcast.
What he said.
I think I nailed it. Brazilians, let me know.
All right, on to this week's shoutouts. So we actually have dual shoutouts this week. We have two patrons on Patreon. So Caleb from North Carolina and Jason from the UK, thank you kindly for your support of the show and, of course, helping us fund our outside international and lower 48 sticker mailing budget and keeping the lights on here at Low Tide Boyz HQ.
HQ.
Thank you kindly. Not required, but appreciated.
Much
appreciated.
Course.
Now on to Adventure Time / training updates.
Yeah, so the unstructured training continues, except in the pool. If that sounds like a broken record, I guess it is, but that's what's happening.
It's what's going on.
We're both officially now being coached by Tower 26. And speaking for myself, I just been really I can't speak highly enough about Jim, Megan, and Gerry and the rest of the crew over there. I feel like my swimming's already progressed, and it's something that we decided over the winter that, getting faster in the water was definitely what we wanted to work on, and that's where we could make a lot of improvement. And, we're certainly trying to do that.
Yeah, I recently officially joined up. I sampled a few workouts, and I obviously saw Chris's progress.
I secretly didn't want you to sign up because I was like, oh, if I can just catch up to you, then it's tables have turned a little bit.
Maybe I can tow faster.
Maybe, yeah, but now that you're doing it too, now we're just like, oh, well, you're just going to progress.
Well,
now too.
At least we're both headed in the same direction.
I guess, yeah. At least that.
Yeah, not only we could swim better as in technique wise, but also when we've been quote unquote swimming in the past, we have just sort of kind of done random stuff in the pool without any purpose, or we know, hey, we got Casco Bay coming up, we need to swim a lot because it has 6K of swimming or whatever the race is.
Exactly.
But here we have something specific with proper training cycles, recovery cycles, technique cycles, all sorts of stuff that you get with kind of
lots of cycles,
a little bit of hand holding.
Yeah, and frankly, I think Gerry's a genius. Anyway, this isn't an advertisement for Tower 26, but on their platform, there's a recording before every workout, so you know what it is. He's explaining it to you, and it's just
really solid.
I feel like I'm just learning a ton. So anyway, if you guys want to learn more about Tower 26, you can check out two of our episodes where we interview Coach Gerry Rodriguez and Emma Kate Lidbury in episode 32. And then in episode 42, we had a AMA style with coaches Megan Amelgard and Jim Lubinsky. So if you want to glean some swimming wisdom from them, check those episodes.
Those are good ones for sure. Now on to Feats of Endurance. This week's winner is Bart Zarnecki from Poland. He has been posting 3-minute ice bath swims and adding a photo with a smile. The smile could be frozen on there. We're not totally sure, but keep it up. Way to go, Bart. If you're also looking to score a sweet Feats of Endurance award, head on over to our Strava club, Low Tide Boyz. Cheer on your fellow swim runners there as they train all over the world.
Yeah, and if you are listening to this and let's say you're injured or something, let us know. We'll send you one. This isn't ridiculously exclusive. Just,
Yeah.
You really want one, let us know.
Totally. All right, on to This Week in Swimrun, powered by RaceID.com.
Yes, we have a couple updates this week and no corrections, so I'm glad
That's two in a row.
Glad we
Knock on
broke
wood.
that up. Yeah. So first off, Odyssey Swimrun Mackinac Island, which is located in northern Michigan, is open for registration. You can sign up for either the long course or the short course. We've talked about this race before. Race date is Sunday, August 29th, and registration is limited to only 250 teams. So if you really want in on that experience in Lake Huron, where there's no cars allowed on this island,
Only horsies.
Then you might want to jump on that. Speaking of Odyssey Swimrun, today, March 4th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, they are hosting a Zoom call to talk about their 2021 race season and answer questions about swimrun generally. For some reason, they asked us to be on the panel with them, so we hope that they won't regret that decision. But yeah, you can chat with us and chat with race director Lars and Aaron and the rest of the crew over there. You can find the link to that call on the website.
That'll be good. See you all there.
Yeah. Tonight.
Tonight is the night. We were busting out some NSYNC back in the day.
Really?
Because my wife was a big fan. We've been finding her stuff.
Wow.
So now these old lyrics from NSYNC songs come back in my head.
Wow.
And tonight is the night.
Anyway, I'm just gonna can we like bleep
roll
part of that?
right over that one.
In other news, Brecca Swimrun has announced that they have opened up all of their 2021 UK races for registration. Now, they've only opened up the sprint and solo sprint distances at the moment, and they're planning on opening up long course once the UK eases the COVID restrictions and the vaccine stuff is doing its thing. Their 2021 races are Coniston on July 10th, Gower on July 31st, Loch Lomond, which is a really cool name for a race, August 7th, and then Jersey is on September 4th. Now, that's a race that race just looks super dope. Anyway, you can head over to their website, which is linked in our show notes, to get all the latest details about that. And that is it for this week. Feel free to email us to give us a tip of any events or swimrun news that you'd like for us to share on the show.
Absolutely. On to Low Tide Boyz updates. So our new Super Stoked on Swimrun stickers have been mailed out. The requests keep coming in, and we keep sending them out. Thanks for tagging us in your photos on Instagram and stuff. We love sharing that. If you want a free sticker, a Low Tide Boyz thank you to the fans, just shoot us an email or a DM, lowtideboyz@gmail.com with a Z, with your mailing address, and we'll send you a free sticker.
Yeah.
Or if you want
Or
one
two.
for you and your partner or whatever, let us know how many you need.
Absolutely.
And the new Low Tide Boyz hats will be arriving at HQ in the next few weeks. Since they'll be here soon, we're actually taking pre-orders in our shop. If you want to be the first one to rock a Low Tide Boyz hat the second it comes in, don't forget we have two different styles. We have a flat bill trucker, a little bit of a higher profile, and that has the Low Tide Boyz patch on it. It's all navy, kind of the standard issue look. And then we have a lower profile trucker, all navy, with kind of a more curved bill with the patch as well. And you will see all those online, so hopefully you can find something you like. I'm thinking we might throw together a little T-shirt hat combo if you want to rock the full look. The Low Tide Boyz rock the runway. The Low Tide Boyz runway look with the T-shirt and hat.
Yeah.
So lowtideboyz.com/shop for the lids. Now, on to this week's interview with Fabio from Hero Swimrun.
Yeah, so as mentioned at the beginning, I think if I can speak for Chipper, we think that this interview is really a special one. I mean, we were really stoked to chat with Fabio, Hero Swimrun. We chatted with him a few weeks back, and we were honestly really humbled by how stoked he was to chat with us and how sort of how much he appreciated that we were sort of highlighting his event and sort of Swimrun in Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
And that just got us super stoked because honestly, I feel like that's kind of our calling as sort of chief Swimrun evangelists, as we've been termed now. Anyway, we chatted with Fabio about all kinds of stuff, from his athletic background to his role in the Rio Olympics and the ITU World Circuit, about his entrepreneurial spirit, and ultimately how he found Swimrun. and then decided to start a race. And there's some really interesting little nuggets. We want to spoil too much because this interview is just packed, but he talked to us about how influential and helpful Michael Lamel and Mats Scott were from Attilo and helping him create his race and have it be the first merit race in South America, which is just so freaking cool of him. And as another super cool thing, the Swedish consulate in Brazil was also helping him make this happen, which is just, I mean, it's just so great. Anyway, we also talked about sort of the journey of Hero Swimrun as a race and how Fabio is basically single-handedly growing a vibrant swimming community in his area and, you know, keeps trying to elevate the sport, which is just so much fun. So, you know, we have an invitation to go down. The race is on our bucket list.
We have sunscreen.
Yeah, we have
ready
sunscreen. We don't have permission, but we have everything else. But, you know, sit back, enjoy this interview. Really appreciated having Fabio on, and we think this guy really just embodies the spirit of swimrun.
Absolutely. So, without further ado, Fabio, Hero Swimrun. I could be your hero, baby. I could take away your pain. Is that what it is?
All right, with us today we have Fabio Iskandarian. He is the race director of Hero Swimrun all the way from Brazil. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, guys. It's going to be nice. I'm very excited to tell you about what's going to happen in swimrun in Brazil.
I love it. I mean, we're really excited too. I mean, when you know, I'm kind of the guy on the show who books guests and stuff, and I've been wanting to do, you know, Brazil and Hero Swimrun specifically. And I must say, like, when I reached out to you and like you were super stoked on it, like that got us really super stoked on it. So we're really excited to have this conversation. But let's start at the beginning. Let's start tell us a little bit about yourself. What's your athletic background? Like how you found swimrun? Yeah, I would love to hear that.
Yeah, okay. Well, my background in sports is swimming. I started swimming when I was like months of age, and at the 8 years old, I was started in the competitive swimming, representing a club here in Rio de Janeiro, where I'm from. And when I reached 15, I started to do biathlon because I couldn't win anymore in swimming, so. I need to find another way to find the gold medal. So I found myself very well in biathlon, and then when I reached 18, 19, I started to do triathlon. It was just a step up. It was very nice. I started to win again, which was good, until reach the professional level in Brazil. But actually, I found myself much. I achieved very well in long distance races, especially half Ironman, and to become a former professional triathlete. I raced in Brazil Ironman, which I in 2007, and I got a really good result. So after that, my professional life as an athlete, I graduated in physical education here in Brazil, and I started to work with events management. So I moved to Australia, and I lived there for 4 years in Sydney. And actually, my events life actually started to happen and everything in Australia when I was hired by a company to support them to organize events, running events. They had the Nike account. So we organized the first women race in Australia, the running race.
The women's Nike Women's Half Marathon.
Yeah, Nike, she runs the night.
Wow.
Yeah,
nice.
It was actually 13K in a park. So they closed the park only for the girls, which was amazing. and yeah, everything started there. And then after that, after 4 years, I came back to Rio, and it was just in time of the Olympics here in 2016.
Yeah.
Actually, I came a little bit earlier, 2 years before, and applied to work with them. So I got a position as a coordinator in triathlon and para-triathlon actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it was one of my best experience in sports events. Actually, Olympics is the topic, you know.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So
what a once in a lifetime
really good
opportunity to work with that many exceptional athletes.
Yeah, exactly. I was actually para-triathlon. They debuted in Rio. It was the first time in history, and
oh wow!
And I got a really special role, which I had to command 40 people, 40 volunteers, and apply the handling technique, which ITU taught me how to do it. So since when the athlete arrives at the venue, my team has to be prepared to take the athlete and move him around into a golf car or to a wheelchair or everywhere, taking them out of the water. It was really challenging and rewarding at the same time. So, and actually in Olympics, in triathlon, I was working as a start and finish coordinator. At the first time, I didn't like it because I really wanted to see the race. But actually, it was a really good position because I could see all of them in the beginning and also in the end. And also, I had the duty to take the gold medalist, all the medalists, to the press conference. So I travel actually. I moved them to the golf cart and was with them and talking with them. So they were really excited. By the time was the Brownlees, the brother, and Gwen Jorgensen, the American one. So yeah, it was great. Was great.
Wow, that is awesome. What an experience.
Yeah, amazing. And after that, I became an ITU technical official. So I'm also being involved on the other side of the organization. So I traveled to many countries in South America, and also I was selected to be a technical official in Rotterdam on the grand final race.
Oh wow! Yeah, that'd be super dope.
Yeah, so I traveled to the Netherlands just to do it, so it was so good. And so after the Olympics, I had an insight because I really like sports events, organizing all this pressure and stress. I do like it because at the end it's so rewardable for me actually. And so I started to search on the internet. I started digging on the internet about different sports, and actually I was decided to do a super biathlon, something like this, like a 2K swimming and 15K run, something like this, going through the bush and the trails and sand. And then I found Swimrun and I said, oh my God, these guys started to do something like this in like 10 years ago, and I'm still thinking to do something now.
Wow, that's really interesting. So Fabio, so it's almost like it was like an independent invention, right? Like you were thinking about doing something like this, and then you see, probably like a YouTube video or something of these like crazy races. That had to be really, really funny just to be like, oh my God, these guys have been doing it for a while now.
Did you think, oh man, this is exactly what I want to do? I just didn't know it was called Swimrun or Otelo or whatever.
I was really, really surprised to see guys swimming with shoes. And I said, no, this is not possible. This is not possible. And then I started to dig about the sports and say, fuck, man. Oh, sorry. Yeah,
you can do
these
it.
guys are amazing. Yeah, so it was good. And I said, well, there is nothing about this in Brazil. This is really weird because our country has a really good geography for that. So I started to search about it, and then I I shooted an email to Matt and Michael without any expectations to be replied, because these guys are the top ones, you know, and I'm just a little guy trying to set in sports, different sports in Brazil. So yeah, like in about a few days they replied me, and we started to talk about sport and see if it would be feasible to do in Brazil. And so this is how everything's happened.
Wow, that's super cool. I mean, it just goes to show. I mean, we're big believers that the swimrun community is special, and you know, we're biased, but we think it's a very special community. And I think this is just another example. Like, you're right. You know, Michael and Mats are pretty busy. You know, they're essentially like the chief stewards of this entire sport that they helped invent.
Yeah, exactly.
And the fact that they took the time to speak with you and to encourage you, not discourage you, right? Which you would think that could have just been equally as like, yeah, you know, just let the big boys handle this or something. Instead, they were like, yeah, this is great. We totally want you to be successful in this. I mean, that's just great. Can you tell us a little bit about like what kind of advice they gave you?
Well, actually, I had a chance to meet Matt here in Rio. And he was traveling in Brazil as in vacation. So I met him in a hotel here when we discussed about how we could implement swimrun here, because in Europe, the guys, they race with wetsuits, and here is a tropical country, so that would be completely impossible. People will die overheated.
People will die.
So
people literally melting.
I had to adapt, and we decided to put like 6 equipment as mandatory equipment, just for safety reasons, you know.
Okay.
Which is the swim cap, of course, the jersey, whistle, swim pad, pool boy, and of course the tennis shoes. So actually, the swim pad was the great point of the story, because it can help you a lot in to sustain you in the water, to give you more flotation, and the pool boy, of course. So yes, and then we started from at this point, and everything happened pretty well. We are reaching it this year on the 10th of April, the 3rd edition. Our expectation is to reach about 300, 400 athletes doing solo and in Brazil, because there are so many people excited, and we've been doing some trainings with some athletes here in Rio, and they got super stoked after they want to do it again.
Yeah.
Every time when they finish, they want to do it again. So yeah,
that's what we keep finding.
It's gonna be big here soon.
Every time we try it, we keep trying swimrun, and we keep trying swimrun, and we keep getting super stoked on it.
Yeah.
So your 2021 edition of the Hero Swimrun, you have a 6K, a 10K, 23K, and a kids race. That's a nice broad selection. I love the kind of 6K. Only you have 700 meters of swimming and about a 5K worth of running on that one, and I think you have it here on your site. That's a great way to kind of intro into the sport if you're a little unsure about it.
Exactly.
That's a good way to kind of get your feet wet, for the lack of a better word there.
Get your shoes wet.
Get your shoes wet. What was the first edition of Hero Swimrun? Did you have so many different options, or where did you kind of index with when you married your race director, technical, behind the scenes experience with kind of your newfound love for this new sport?
Yeah.
And knowledge from low to low.
In 2019, we started with 10K and 24K. So yeah, so 10K, and then I realized it was quite big for a new sport, a quite big distance, and then on the second year, I decided to keep the 10K, which is quite challenging, and the 6K was just an entry level, just for people they are excited to do it, but at the same time they are quite afraid. And Yeah, I in all the races here, I've tried to follow how Attila do with 15%, 20% swimming and the rest of running. So I could manage this here and keep this. We need to keep the tradition, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So,
how big
you went pretty well.
how big was the field after from the first year to the second year? Did you see a lot more people coming in, learning about the sport? Like, how did that? Because it seems to me like you essentially are one of the people that's responsible for growing the community of swimrun in Brazil, at least in Rio for sure. So, like, how did you see the community grow kind of around your event year over year?
Yeah. Well, in the first year, we had about 170, 160 people.
Wow. Pretty good.
Yeah. On the second year, we stepped up a little bit more to 250. And now we are aiming to get about 300, 350. Depends of the COVID time, you know.
Sure. Yeah.
There are a few people afraid about it, but we are taking the right protocols to do it. So, yeah, since people started to know about the sport, they get really, really excited. It's something that I cannot explain. I think I had the same feeling in the beginning when I realized what the sport was, and say, "Oh my God, this is so cool!" Because swimrun can take you anywhere. You are free to go to anywhere. So you can jump on the rocks, you can climb the hill, you can go to a trail and then reach another beach. So, and especially here, the race happened in Búzios. It's a scenic place in Rio. 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours driving by car in the coast of Rio. And the race in total, we reached 200 beaches, 200, sorry, 20 beaches and 7 kind of terrains. So it's a huge variety of adventure and adrenaline.
So people are going to get a taste of everything. I see there you kind of got some city kind of quote unquote urban swim run or running, and then you cut across a bay and you kind of go over into this green trail looking area.
Exactly.
Albatross.
Exactly. Yeah. Albatross Trail is the longest trail that we have here. It's about 1.5K and going up and down, and it's huge. It's so nice. It's so nice. It's challenging because there are some roots on the way, some big holes, so the people need to run and dodge, and they get tired. That's the point.
Yeah. So I mean, I just think, I love Brazil, and I have a problem with how much I love Brazil, but when you think about putting an event on in a place like Rio that's already so famous, did you have any difficulty getting permits or people on board to put on an event like this, especially that they've never even heard of?
Yeah, well, a lot. A lot. Everything in Brazil is so bureaucratic, so we need to follow some protocols, and sometimes the bureaucracy and politics takes place of sports,
Yeah.
And I faced this in Olympics as well, and Olympics is the major sports event in the world. So yeah, but the thing is, here in Búzios is not in the city of Rio, so things are much easier to solve, and you have much more easier access to the town hall and the responsibles for that. So sometimes we have problems with lifeguards, and staff is really hard to get some staff people, because it's not only about the external problems. Some people, even like locals, if they see like a sign or something related to the race, they just take it off and throw in the bin. And an athlete can easier get lost. So we have to think about these things as well. So it's a double work.
That
But
happens here. That happens here too. Like if there's a trail race, a big trail race, and they mark it the night before, there could be some people just go pull the flags. Yeah.
yeah,
That's too bad, people.
It's a cultural problem. Like sports here in Brazil is just football. People love soccer, and I don't know how you guys say football or soccer, but
yeah, same.
Yeah. But other sports are getting bigger as well, like volleyball, swimming. But you need to think that people will cope with the event, and the city actually is getting known about the event. More people are more aware about what's going to happen, and we are advertising a lot as well. And yeah, we're growing up step by step.
Now, Fabio, besides your killer Instagram account, what do you think is kind of fueling this growth? About you're almost kind of doubling your registration rates, even in these kind of really unprecedented times. It sounds like you're forecasting to have, almost double your previous year's entry. Are people kind of coming in and doing the 6K and then wanting to take a bigger challenge, or do you find that there's some other way that this is kind of spreading around to kind of grow the community there in Brazil?
I've been checking the entries, how it's happening now, and it's a quite interesting phenomenon what's happening. The 23K is reaching the same numbers of athletes of 10K. So athletes who did 10K last year, they don't want to do it again. Just want to step up and put in more challenging on the race. And also the other ones who did 6K want to step up and go finding more adrenaline on 10K. But actually 10K is our traditional course. And I think it's gonna get more. Last year we put it also 40K because it became a merit race, merit race. Yeah, but I think we need to improve a little bit more in logistics and make it 23K more solid, and then move up a little bit more to 40K maybe next year.
So let's talk about that, because
so we are ready for that. And
So let's talk about how that happened, because you're obviously the first Attila merit race in South America. How was that? Just continuing the conversations you've been having, and like how did that happen for you?
Yeah, well, I contact them, asking them how is the procedure, what I should do to do it, and they say, well, first of all, you need to implement the sport, and then you step up a little bit more, and you need to do a 40K race. So my intention was to have some foreigners here racing in this amazing tropical country with some challenging course and really warming people, cheering them on the event. But the thing is, it's hard to follow sometimes the European calendar. I think Attila, they works for from April to November, December, something like this. So when we were granted to be a merit race, I think it was too close for the foreigners to organize themselves, their trips and flights, accommodation, and all these things. So we tried, but for this year we decided not to. They also offered to us again, but we decided to hold on a little bit more, just because all this world scenario, COVID, all these things is always will be a difficulty to do it,
some significant headwinds.
I really appreciate that, Fabio, because it sounds like where you're coming from is like, I want to put on a world-class race, and one that's worthy of Attila and sort of the big European races, right? But this isn't the year to do it with COVID and everything, so might as well just pull it back and then try to come back stronger while you're honing your craft as a race director and a course designer and all these things?
Yeah, well, we need to measure what we're going to do in a positive way and also a negative one. I think it's always the you choose where you want to put your boundaries, you know. So I think it's very important to after every race we join our team and we decide what we're going to do for the next one. So the 40K was a big challenge for us as well. And actually the athletes, they loved. They asked me, okay, I want to do it again. Because it takes to another side of the city. Very wild, very challenging, like big rocks to climb and very...
Jurassic.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, but we decided to hold on a little bit more.
I like that. Yeah, I definitely am kind of echoing Chris's points here, but I appreciate the kind of attention to detail and wanting to do it the right way rather than just doing it. I think overall that's going to create a better experience long term for the racers and the athletes, and for you too, because you're going to have a better sense of it. You'll have more access to volunteers and staff and that kind of thing too. So pretty smart move there, and that is awesome.
Thank you.
It's also very self-serving for me because I'm going to try to convince Chipper to go down there and do the race.
You guys have to come. You love it. You will love it.
Well, I already know I'd love it because I love Brazil. So,
how many times have you been here?
Just once. Just once years ago, probably. I'm old, so maybe like 20 years ago.
Oh, come on.
But yeah.
Many things has changed.
I mean, my problem is I'm worried if I go, I'll just never leave. So.
Well, it probably do happen.
So anyway, let's talk a little bit more about kind of like the community of Brazil, of the Swimrun community in Brazil. Like, where do you really see the sport growing? Like, we know there's a couple other races now, Swimrun races that are happening, like Bahia. They have some races, I believe, south from where you guys are. I mean, that's great, right? That there's more events coming online. But where do you see kind of the sport growing in Brazil? And do you think there's room for growth?
Well, this is a good question because we are facing a wave of 70.3 races here in Brazil. Mm-hmm. So the majority of our public is triathletes, and they are most of them are triathletes. So our races sometimes crashes with some half Ironman races, and people are still getting known about the sport. They are always afraid about thinking, oh my God, how can I can barely swim properly. Imagine putting tennis shoes on my feet. I'm gonna drown straight away. But this is not the real story. Using the right equipment, pool buoy and swimming pad, it's gonna be actually much easier than swimming only with swim trunks and all other gear. So I think people still need to get known about the sport. And there are so many good places. Bahia is amazing. In the south of Brazil, we are actually in southeast. South of Brazil is really good as well. There are some good islands there. And for our races, for Hero Swimrun, we have athletes from all over the country. Some people, they travel like 8-10 hours to come here in Búzios and do the race, which is amazing. And I think it's gonna grow a little bit, much more. I don't know.
What do you see is kind of the makeup at your races? Are these just people who are looking for something fun and a new adventure and just a way to be active and outside? Or are these kind of people who, I guess, kind of like Chris and I, were sort of at the tail end of this really kind of trying to be competitive triathlete, like age grouper, and we're just looking for something different because we're kind of burnt out a little bit on triathlete? What's sort of the makeup of the Hero Swim runners?
Well, I think the first intention is to feel a different experience, to live a different experience in sport. And people, some of them, they are tired about running against a clock or watch or something like this.
Yeah.
They just want to get out of the asphalt and see the nature. I think Búzios is a fantastic. Actually, swimrun is a fantastic way to discover the environment and what the nature can offer to you. So, especially in our race, if they do the 23K race, they go through 20 beaches in completely different scenarios.
Wow.
So I think this is what people are looking for. They just want to have fun, cross the finish line, do a big hug on their partner, and smile a lot. That's the point. We are still not a very competitive race because, as I said, the majority wants to have fun. They want to travel and enjoy the race and see a different nature. And you can see also turtles swimming in the water, maybe dolphins. So it's not only just go there and race, it's just to go there and have much fun. So I think this is the point at the moment.
Awesome.
Love it.
Yeah, I love that. And I think the great thing about swimrun is people realize they're having fun pretty quickly. Within, after starting it out, maybe it's only one or two transitions from swim to run. But as Chris mentioned too, and you mentioned, Fabio, just sort of that like sense of freedom that you get almost immediately when you go from running to swimming back to running. You're like, whoa, this whole other world is kind of possible for me to adventure and explore and have fun. And I think that is a bucket that's very deep in people that they keep wanting to fill that up.
Yeah. And the thing is a big loop course. So you never know what's coming up. Mm-hmm. So you go up to the trail and then you're going to reach another beach, amazing beach. And then you go a little bit more and you cross the other side and it's like a bay or a different beach. So yeah. And also I think the equipment used, it's something that like you cannot believe. Like you if you train swimming in a swimming pool, okay, you can get the pool boy, you can get the swim pad, but there is no other race in the world that you can race with them. And I'm also a swimming coach, so I've been training a lot of people, and during the workouts they say, "Oh, I wish I could use my swim pad in triathlons to go faster." I say, "Well, in swimrun you can do it." So I think it's a completely different way to see a sport.
I have a clarifying question, actually, Fabio. You mentioned swim pad. Is this something
you mean
new?
Swim paddles?
Are they paddles, or is it a different thing besides the buoy?
No, it's a different thing beside the buoy.
It's like a belt or something?
No, the things that you put in your hand.
Oh, the paddles.
Okay, got you. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I was confused.
Okay, sorry.
I'm not confused anymore. I got it. Thank you.
So
yeah, my bad.
Oh no,
it's no problem.
It's good. So Fabio, I mean, it's if you were trying to sell the race, it sounds to me like the race is pretty much sold here. I think sounds like an awesome experience. I mean, I grew up in the Caribbean, so the idea of doing a tropical swim run. I mean, that's what I grew up doing, was just running on the beach and jumping in the ocean and doing stuff like that. So to me, there's something very almost like romantic about being able to do a swim run where you don't have to worry about being cold. But yeah, I mean, it seems to me people are coming from all over Brazil to do this race. Are you seeing folks coming internationally? I mean, this year is obviously different because of COVID, but were you seeing from other countries, maybe like Argentina or something nearby, flying up to do the race?
Well, we had some Argentinians, but some of them, they live here in Brazil, so it's not.
Oh, gotcha.
We cannot count with that. I had a Russian guy last year, and on the first year I had a Belgian guy, but he also lives in Brazil. And and also we had the support of the Swedish embassy of Brazil and for the race because I introduced the sport to them and they could not believe that a Swedish sport will be established in Brazil, so they supported me straight away. And one of the I think he was I don't remember his position, but he's Swedish and he works in the embassy and he raced as well. But I wish I could have some foreigners here coming along and having fun because they will race without wetsuits. I'll make sure that.
Well, I've officially deputized myself to bring a delegation at some point to Brazil to do this race. So
you guys have to come. You see, because everyone who does this, they absolutely love it. It's amazing.
We
are very, very, very happy.
We've noticed that as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you have Hero Swimrun. Are you thinking of potentially adding more events in different parts of Rio, new events or anything like that?
We expect. Actually, when last year we were planning to do 3 races at this year, but we had the coronavirus boom, and we had to change the plan a little bit. But we're still thinking about doing another one in the city of Rio at the end of the year, maybe. But this one's going to be much more promotional race than something to implement the sport because the 80% of our athletes, they come from Rio, from the city of Rio. And to race here in Búzios, they have to travel, they have to book accommodation, they have to spend more money. So if the idea is to blow up the sport, we could do something in the city. So we will have more people knowing about it, we'll have more people doing the sport and getting the feel of the sense of freedom, as you said. So yeah, that's the intention.
I feel like you're onto something, and several other folks within Swimrun have kind of mentioned the concept of an urban swimrun, and I think that is kind of how some people in the swimrun community are kind of looking at the next phase of kind of expansion for it. Is you kind of have the fringe people that will drive the 6 hours round trip or the 3 hours to get to your place, but to get the mass amounts of volume and growth. You do kind of want to bring it to those more heavy populated areas, and I think having one in Rio could be pretty cool for sure, especially with all the Olympic history that you have there. Potentially accessing some of those areas that they did events in would be so cool. Yeah,
definitely. And the idea is to do a short course just to bring people in, and then reach and bring them back to Búzios next year.
Right.
So that's
the
idea.
You only need them to do the first couple legs of that swim run, and they'll be hooked. We all know that.
Take some good shots, and that's it.
Yeah, put a cool video out, some good photographers out there, and you'll be all set.
Yeah, absolutely true.
Awesome, Fabio. Well, it has been so great hearing and learning about Hero Swimrun and you kicking off Swimrun in Rio.
The movement
Swimrun has started, and it's growing.
Hard work.
Yeah, I do. You're doing it. We see you. So your website, if people are interested more, is heroswimrun.com.br. And your Instagram handle will link to all that stuff in the show notes. But anywhere else people can go if they want to check out more about you, Fabio, or Hero Swimrun?
Yeah, exactly. It's absolutely open. Everyone can go there and enroll themselves. It's fine.
Cool. Yeah. And the Instagram is just Hero Swimrun, and you have
Hero
a YouTube. You got a nice little following. You have some YouTube videos up, some hype videos. We'll be sure
Gotta
to
have the hype
link those
videos.
out. We'll be sure
Gotta
to
have the
link
hype
those
videos.
out. We'll pump up. We'll get you some more views on those videos. Fabio. How does that sound?
We need some.
Awesome. Well, Fabio, thank you so much. This was really great, and I really appreciate you taking the time.
Oh, that's a big pleasure for me to talk with you guys. I was really happy to get your invitation, and like it's something that people are starting to see the swim run in Brazil from overseas, and
Awesome.
that's the point. That's what we want. We want to bring attention, and also I'm planning to go to Utah in September to do the 15K race in the World Champs and work on the day after as a volunteer.
That is awesome.
Nice.
So,
Maybe we'll see you there.
Thank you.
All right, man.
Thanks, man. Thank you for listening to the Low Tide Boyz, a Swimrun podcast. Make sure to subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast and leave a review on iTunes if you're so inclined.
You can also sign up for our newsletter at lowtideboyz.com. That's boys with a Z. And check out our meme page at The Low Tide Boyz on Instagram. If you have any questions or suggestions for the show, drop us an email at lowtideboyz@gmail.com.
We'd like to thank Writing Easy Records for our show music, and of course our wives for their support and tolerance of our swimrun activities, hobbies, and other bullshit we do.
Finally, you can support our efforts on Patreon. Until next time, get out there and go for a swim.
And then a run.
And then another swim.
Then another run.
And then another swim.
And then run to the finish line. And just keep going until you're done.
Yes, or
until
run
you
to
cross the finish line.
Or run to the car.
Or run to your car.
Somewhere. Just keep running.
So we know their arrival is imminent.
Imminent.
So since their arrival is coming...
You're good.